You know what time it is? Doing this evening. We are, well, see, I messed up all this stuff. There's all these new settings on here. If you guys are messing with StreamYard, it is super annoying. I'll figure out here in a second. We'll get the music off. But so we are here. Last week we had SpaceCon. We did pretty well last week. Hold on. We'll do it this way. We're gonna figure this out. Cat might need your help back here. How do you get to? I should have played around with the new StreamYard. There we go. She got it off. Thank you. Okay. So we had SpaceCon last week. We did really well. That's why we didn't stream last week. We put some content out. We actually went viral on TikTok and Facebook on an Anakin Skywalker video. So if you guys haven't checked that out, make sure to check it out. We got a lot to talk about this week. We have Power Ranger news, we have Agatha All Along, and we have the Penguin. So since we are talking Marvel, I brought in the crew that did the Deadpool and Wolverine review. So if you guys remember, there's Tyler the creator. We're going to call him Tyler the Destroyer. So guys, welcome Tyler back to the chat. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good. He's got his new office set up for his wifey's creative office, but he is commandeering it for the night. So
absolutely.
Don't mind the kitty cat ears. They are just part of the ensemble. So.
Exactly.
And then you guys know him. You guys know her from Toku Topics. She is probably the #1 Toku toy reviewer on YouTube. Everyone, welcome back, Josh.
Hello.
What's going on?
I am back.
I am back. I know. It's like I don't want to talk Power Rangers much that week. Who do I call? We'll call the #1 Power Ranger news person.
Right. It's always good to kind of change things up a little bit. It keeps things exciting. But
right,
no, it's always great to be here.
I appreciate it.
I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, man. So we got Josh in the chat. What's going on, man? We got Fallen Royalty. Everyone saying hi. Got Maddie. We got Wanda, of course. Wanda, how are you? We got Ranger Restoration Repair, Mega Demon, Sensei Ranger. What's going on, man? We got Ed Hernandez on Facebook, Stefan on Facebook. We got a couple of people. What's going on, guys? So, not gonna. We'll have the comments and we'll go through as many as we can today, but we're gonna go ahead and start the show. So, the big thing that we got to reveal this week is we got the official reveal of the 3-0 Turbo Ranger figures. Now, we got a sneak peek of this at San Diego. We had the peek of the Red Ranger figure, which we helped put out that news. And then we got a full reveal of what they were going to look like at Morphicon. And we put out those images, but they didn't really say when they were coming out. They said what at the time they were going to pre-orders were going to be fourth quarter or something like that. And then I think it was like second quarter 2025 or something like that is when the actual figures are going to come out. But looking at these figures and getting a better look, now we got a little bit of a look at Power Morphicon, but those looks were through a glass, and you know, it's what it is. But these look, I have to say, these look really good. I think these may be some of the best Power Ranger 3.0 figures that they've done.
I mean, like every shot here just looks like it was pulled straight from the show.
Right. I
Or
mean,
even better, since the show is from 1997.
it's like we got HD images finally
Yeah,
of
Got
Turbo.
that 4K remaster there.
Yeah, this is a Super Mega Force footage Turbo.
I mean, I have to say, man, like these look really, really good. I was really sold on the Zeo Ranger figures. Now, what I'm not sold on is the price. Like these are
Yeah, they're
super
so
premium
expensive.
figures. They are $100 a piece for their figures, but
I have one figure. I have Mighty Morphin Red just to like have one, and
right,
I mean, it's amazing. I would love if if I had all the money in the world and
right.
all the space, especially because these are taller figures, I would be getting all of these instantly. But it's very
It's
cool.
they're definitely like a commitment if you're gonna collect them for sure. And at least you can buy them in a pack, but I think you would want to buy them in the pack, right? But the pack is like
Yeah,
$550 or something
yeah.
like that. And just kind of like it's hard. And they're bigger figures, so they take more space up, obviously. And even the box, like it has really nice presentation. And so it's like almost like you kind of want to keep them in the box, open flap, which requires even more room. But I don't know, man. I think I might need the Red Ranger from this one. I haven't ordered any of the Zeo Ranger ones yet, but I really want the Gold Ranger from the Zeo Ranger wave. I think that one, I think the Gold Ranger suit is the best suit in Power Rangers, period. But I don't know. These look really good. What
I
I
think
think
for me, it's just like barely anything, but even like the Lightning Collection, like ever gets to Turbo.
yeah,
So like if they're so dedicated and like all in on this that they're willing to do something this involved for like a season that I feel like because as we get past Mighty Morphin and even Zia to an extent, it's like you're gonna have less and less of a demand for these from like a general audience standpoint. So
true.
the fact that we're even getting this, I think, is just super impressive that they're so committed.
I mean, yeah, I mean, and they even went with what was the one they did was the I can't think the Matt Cook figure too, and
Mhm.
I saw in person at Big Texas Comic Con. I He had it priced at 125. I was trying to get him down to 110. He didn't do it, but
Mm.
he I thought that was really they look really good. Like I have to say, like they look really, really good. I have the White Ranger and the Green Ranger up there. Um, this is all. I actually talked to my wife the other. I think I'm actually gonna actually make a studio here
Ooh,
coming up soon. So
that'd be
we'll
sweet.
have things better featured in the future. But I even like this little, is it called a turbo cart? I can't remember what it's called.
Ram.
The turbo ram, that's right. And I mean it comes with, I wonder, does this accessory only come with a 5-pack? Do you know?
Um, I know they all have their weapons
Right.
individually. It could be because I know I'm pretty sure the Zeo pack had like the combined cannon as an exclusive to the
Gotcha.
to the 5-pack, but
I
I'm not
mean,
100% sure about that.
it looks pretty sweet, man. I mean, I have to say,
Go back to that the one shot that you had, like two more slides,
this one.
one more.
There
Like
you
that one right there, like above the like that just looks exactly like the Car Ranger, like
go. Yeah.
with the across the chest. Like it doesn't even look like action figures. That's
They
incredible.
they don't. I have to say. Um,
Such good fit. Like and like they got the chrome down on the helmets and
yeah,
like
it
yeah,
looks
I love
good.
this. Now I would love if we're doing Turbo if they would do Phantom and Blue Centurion.
I don't
Those
think
would
I could skip a Phantom Ranger. I think we talked about this last
right?
time too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Phantom would just be like I don't know if they would do the two of them since like they wouldn't really be fabricy figures, but
Right. That'd be more armored based. That'd be
right.
interesting. Because I mean, the Matt Cook one is probably the most armored based figure that we've had
Mm-hmm.
so far. That's actually out and about that we can see,
That
right?
or that or Draken possibly.
Yeah. I know that people were complaining about not the Draken one. What was it? The Ranger Slayer one? They were having a lot of the
Um,
color bleeds on that. I don't know if you heard that
oh,
too.
I think I did hear a couple of cases of that.
But that's the only complaint I've ever heard about 3.0 was that specific figure and color bleeding on that
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was the pink that they used or
Could be.
process, the manufacturing process of that specific figure. I guess because it had armor, right? So the pink Ranger Slayer had armor. So I bet there was some issue with the armor there, but it was still a pretty sweet figure. It's funny because you can see some of these figures sometimes, and they will randomly go on sale on Amazon for like $65 or something like that. And I have to say, if you can get a 3-0 figure, a Power
Even if you
Rangers
get
one,
it for like 80, that's still
it's
pretty
worth
good.
it. Honestly,
Yeah.
I would have to say it's worth it. And honestly, guys, like with the money that you're saving not buying Lightning Collection right now, it's making it easier to buy these 3-0 figures. Like it's when I purchase them, I'm like, like I haven't bought a whole wave in like a whole year and a half. So there you go. And then if not, if I buy a wave, I buy them at Ross now for $18 for the whole wave. So there you go. I mean that.
I don't know if you've heard, because like I'm active in the GI Joe collecting community, and they, are always posting about like figures found at Ross. You ever hear the term Ross Con?
No, but I like it. I like it.
People on Facebook are always posting like, "Look at my haul from RossCon," and it's like a bunch of these like year-old GI Joe figures they got for like $6.
Right,
That's
and
awesome.
right now is the time to go to Ross because they're starting their Christmas. They started it early October.
Yeah.
So people have been finding Ninjetti figures.
You really never know what you're gonna find there.
You never do. It's funny. Someone actually messaged me the other day. A friend messaged me and was like, "Hey, I've been going to Ross a lot. You looking for anything?" I'm like, "If it's Lightning Collection, just pick it up because I just use them. I use them for giveaways." And like they're like $6, man. Like that's easy.
Well, when I saw that Turbo Red was popping up there, I was just blown away because like, I mean, that one was hard to find when it was out, before
it
that.
got up to like $50 at one point to buy that figure too.
Mm-hmm,
so I don't know if you remember, we talked about this last time. I told you I was going to get them.
Yeah.
So I got the metallic one. I'm looking at this white one, and it actually looks more like silver than it does. I don't know if you can tell.
Yeah, I definitely see
it's
it.
silver.
It looks way more silver than like metallic white.
You remember the in Megaforce when they put out a metallic White Ranger figure in the basic line? It looks kind of like that, the kind of pearlescent kind of plastic to it.
This is very 90s Shield. I don't know if you can tell.
Oh wow!
I'm gonna have to say I'm a little disappointed on the Shield.
I like I like that they gave him the original 8-inch belt buckles, the very basic morphers that are just like the red circle.
It actually has the dragon.
Oh, does it really?
Yeah, it does. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh wow, that's cool.
That's interesting. So I just seen that right now because I was looking. I was like, yeah, they have the red, but the White Ranger had the red too in the old 90s figures, and this one has the Die Ranger belt. So there's some differences, but I think they look really good. I have to say the silver is kind of off-putting a little bit. And we talked, and I said I traditionally don't like Super 7, and then I get that. I'm like, okay. I have to say $35 ain't bad. They are shiny for sure.
I like the boxes.
The boxes are cool. The green's not as I can kind of see the metallic. I might have to take these out. I don't know.
I'm shocked over the years that we've gotten or how little metallic green things we've gotten. I know it wasn't a thing in the show, but it's just like such a.
You think they would do it, right?
Right. Like I get why they're not from being in the show standpoint, but yeah.
So 3-0 is making more Power Rangers since Hasbro isn't anymore. We're waiting a year for Playmates too. So yeah, if you guys haven't heard, Hasbro is not interested in making toys anymore. They're more interested in collecting IPs and licensing them out. And that's something
that's not just for Power Rangers. That's just across
for everything, right? So and that's something they actually said on their earnings call. They said it twice in a row. So last quarter they said that, and they said it again this quarter. So, but if it's not Dungeons and Dragons, they're not interested in really making anything for it themselves. They're interested in licensing it out to somebody else. So that's why we're getting a lot more 3-0. We're getting Playmates. That's why McFarlane is playing a lot more with different Hasbro properties because they're going a different direction. I think. I think there will be a year coming soon where we don't see anything on the shelves actually made by Hasbro, and we'll see them all be licensed out. But they'll be like a Hasbro shelf, but it won't be made by Hasbro. It'll be made by Playmates or who else is doing them, McFarlane or anything like that. So I believe I recall something they said that 3-0 had the licensing to do all the Ranger series. They do. Josh is the one that said that.
That's right. Yeah, when I talked to whatever the representative was at Morphicon 2022, which is it's actually kind of interesting. This now coming to fruition 2 years later. Like, the guy said that they had the rights to do any season, and he didn't really imply that they would go in order. It seems like obviously now that they are. But like,
Mhm.
he was like, what did he say? I remember him saying that he really wanted to do Dino Thunder.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, yes, please do that.
I really, really want, and I know they did a non-licensed one, but I want a green samurai where the helmet, you can actually turn the helmet
Oh yeah.
and it like turns into the super green samurai. Like that would be sweet for me. Like I don't think they've really figured that out yet for green samurai. Like to do that in the figure, they may have done that in a small 6-inch from like back in 2020 or 2003, but I don't remember. I don't remember them actually have it where the helmet could turn like they did on the show.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. We got to talk a little bit about Marvel today. Let me get to that correct screen. Did you guys see the Marvel series announcements from Disney Plus at 10 o'clock at night? Or was it like Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys know why they did it 10 o'clock at night by chance?
I think I think for me, I saw because I saw the little like trailer promo that they released, um, in front of Agatha episode 8.
That's right, but it came the night before, so it was a Tuesday night then.
Right, was it? Okay,
Right.
I thought
Yeah.
maybe it was so late because it dropped with the Agatha episode. But
It was the night before now, I remember.
Okay,
Because I remember
okay.
seeing it ahead of that. Maybe that's
Well, it's so late for us because don't they wait for Pacific time to drop a lot of stuff like that, being based out in California. So
that's true. That's true.
usually it's 9 o'clock our time, 7 o'clock there.
That's true. So the first one that they showed a teaser of that I forgot that completely they were making was Wonder Man. Now, this is a character that I don't say like many people. I feel like people know about it, but it's like one of those characters that everyone actually just forgets about because, like in the comics, he was in a coma for like 15 years. So like, and then like, was he bad? Was he good? Was he pissed that Wanda moved on to Vision? Like, it was a whole thing, right? Obviously, they're going with the ultimate version of Wonder Man. We didn't see very much. They're doing the version where Simon is an actor. I think there's different versions where he's like a different version of Tony Stark, or like kind of like how Green Arrow is to Batman, like just a billionaire gone a different way. But it seems like this one they're going with the actor persona. We didn't see too much of it, but like, any thoughts on you guys for Wonder Man?
Yeah, so I know that I remember first hearing about it, like when it was filming and the strikes started and that shut down production and stuff on it. And I know there was like rumors that it was like possibly like when they were kind of doing that whole retooling of their television department, that like they might have even considered scrapping it at one
Right.
point. So I was very interested. It was I guess it was less of an interest in the show itself, just because I'm not familiar with the character, but more of an interest from like, since I like come from a film background and everything, like from a production perspective, like I was very interested in its development of like, was it still happening? How did it get affected by the strikes? This and that. And so to
Right.
see it finally, and also like they had, even though we knew about it from the trades and everything, like Variety and Hollywood Reporter stuff talked about it, they never mentioned it at like Comic-Con or D23 or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was very confused. I'm like, I know this is a real show, but when are they going to like tell us it's a real show? And they finally did. So I'm glad to see that it is going to be a thing. Yeah, right. A thing that is real, that it is happening, that is. So yeah, I'm very excited. I think the more that I've kind of started to learn a little bit about the character and like who's going to be in the show and everything, I'm certainly intrigued. I think it's going to be a fun one. So I'm looking forward to it.
I like their choice of actor.
He's Dr. Manhattan, right? He's Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was also Black Manta.
That's right. Okay.
And Aquaman. So
Okay.
I would say I'm super happy for that being the actor, but no, it's kind of what Josh had said, where it was announced. I think he was announced playing the character, and we didn't see anything about it. It kind of reminded me of how me and some friends that work at the theater chain here, we always made the joke that the Flash movie was never going to happen, just because it kept on getting delayed and nothing would happen. So it was kind of like, oh yeah, Wonder Man it'll happen sometime in our lifetime. They'll announce it today, and just kind of like the whole stuff with the blade hang up. But it's cool that we actually got to see footage from it.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
so I heard a rumor that they were actually going to have some more footage on it because I guess D23 Brazil is this week,
Yeah.
and
Oh, is it? Okay.
they're apparently going to debut some more footage of some. Now, the big rumor is the Fantastic Four trailer, which I don't think is that going to happen. But I
When are
think we
they
might.
gonna finally drop the Deadpool trailer publicly? Because like I feel like I've seen the Daredevil trailer like blurry like 500 times for different conventions. I'm like,
That's what
can you
I'm
just
saying. I didn't even put a Daredevil image in here because even what we got official was so fast and moving. There was
yeah,
no
yeah.
HD images to take from it.
No,
So,
no, no. No, it's a
um,
very fast-paced show. Yeah, it does not lend itself well to like being able to report on it when they won't give you any like marketing materials.
maybe. I mean, I know they're really nervous about that show. That's the second version of the show that is what
Right.
we're
I,
gonna see.
I'm hoping. I agree with you. There's definitely some nerves to it. I'm thinking maybe, once the new year starts, anyway, because we're still like 5 months away from the show coming out. So like,
Mhm.
once we get to like January, they can really start ramping it up and be like, all right, he's coming March 4th.
Right.
So hopefully
I can't remember Wonder Man's. He was made
December.
of energy, right? That's what he was. He was
Let me
made of
see.
energy.
I have no idea.
Sure. I
See,
don't know
that's
Sure.
what I'm
much
Got
saying.
about him.
Like,
it.
Yeah.
See, I said December because I thought you were talking about the release date for
Yeah.
the
because I'm
show.
looking at this picture here of Wonder Man. I was like, I can't remember what it was. But yeah, another show. I don't think I knew about this show was Eyes of Wakanda.
It's another one that I know had been talked about for a while. I think Ryan Coogler talked about it at D23.
Okay.
I might be wrong about that, but I know
And
I think it's
Oh,
supposed to be a 4 episode little anthology thing.
it's an anthology. Okay.
Yeah.
And it definitely looks like, like early days of Wakanda.
Mm-hmm.
Uh but based on the outfits here. One even looks like a pirate. So
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
know what to expect too much from this show. But anything Black Panther
I
universe, I
like the
think is
animation style.
yeah, it looks good. It
You
kind of
know,
reminds me of Clone Wars a little bit.
I just kind of like seeing a Marvel animation show for the MCU that is like a different kind of style than like What If or whatever. Like, not that I don't like What If's animation style, but I like there to be a variety in the different animated shows every once in a while. Which some of them are very different, like X-Men '97, but that's not
Right.
supposed to be an MCU show. So
I mean,
I mean,
it's
kind of.
everything is now. I
Yeah,
mean,
I
there's
mean,
now
yeah, I
some
mean,
Mar-
technically yes,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean, like.
I think I don't know. I think they need to. They're definitely going to explore Wakanda more because with the loss of Chadwick Boseman, that was really because I mean we all knew that Chadwick Boseman was supposed to be like taking over for the Avengers, like he does in the comics and stuff like that. For the second iteration of the Avengers, he becomes the leader. He becomes the focal point, and then he passed away, and they had to make a lot of changes, and then obviously COVID had a lot of changes, and the current social climate had made a lot of changes. I don't know. I mean, I think they want to bring in some, make more characters shine in the Wakanda verse, but I don't know. It's going to be hard without T'Challa. I don't know. Tyler, what do you think?
no, I mean it's definitely a area you can explore and kind of make stories about it. But yeah, without T'Challa, if that's the going forward, unless this is something that kind of will help bridge the gap to his son being,
Yeah.
the next Black Panther. But I do think it's kind of hard to have a universe without the main character. And I think like I'd like to, we'll touch on that kind of how I think it's affecting the Penguin series. I know we're kind of jumping ahead of that, but it's like having it's to me it's very similar to way DC goes without having these giant heroes in these universes. I think that the Wakanda could suffer from that, but I do think it can hold water and stand up on its own as its own thing because of the lore and just the wealth of
Right.
everything in the country.
I think a
So
lot of people wanted, because in the comics, Shuri becomes the next Black Panther, right? So,
Mhm.
and obviously we got that in the last movie where
right,
Shuri became Black Panther, but I don't know if it's the actress or the way the character was even coming across in the movie, but she was coming across like very like unlikable towards the end of that movie. And I don't know that clearly is not the plan there, right? And they introduced the son T'Challa, but the dude is like 8 years old, man. Like, you know
yeah,
what I mean? Like,
You're right.
unless we're taking a time jump or having bringing in the multiverse, it's gonna be hard to like age that up quickly and have it make sense, right? So
right.
I know a lot of people have talked about I feel like there's two sections of it, and there's always going to be two sections of it. Like, no, you can't recast T'Challa. Chadwick Boseman was T'Challa, and he is forever going to be Black Panther. But there's at the other end, it's like, well, Christopher Reeve is always going to be Superman, but we got Henry Cavill, we got Brandon Routh, and now we're getting I can't even think of his name. David Cornswet. David Cornswet. So like I think the Black Panther character is really important, especially to the Black community, right? Like to have that character that someone that resembles them, and that's someone that is very like loved and has a good backstory, has good morals, justice, and that's always what Black Panther has been, right? And I can see both sides to it, but I do think they need to recast Black Panther eventually, and the T'Challa Black Panther that we know in the comics and the movies. I just think it's like a rip a band-aid moment. I just think you just gotta do it, in my eyes.
Yeah, I definitely think it's something that Marvel themselves or Marvel Studios is saying that we're not gonna like, but I don't think at the end of the day everybody would mind. They just want to see Black Panther on the screen.
Right.
If it's another caliber of an actor that can replace and fill those shoes, not be a complete, carbon copy of it, but do something like, create their own, like honor the role, then it should be a no-brainer.
But I can also wait until they bring Storm in, and and then like, okay, we're gonna recast Black Panther because we want to do the Storm Black Panther stories, because those are really, really good. So so the next series, again, it's another series like we've been hearing about for, I don't know, this is like one of the oldest series that we've been hearing about forever, and apparently it's not coming out until 2026, but it's Ironheart, which is
it's coming out in June.
It's coming out in June. I have
the trailer had release dates for everything at the end.
Yeah,
it is. Okay, good.
September. Yeah, Marvel's not going to show you anything that comes out in 2 years.
But they've been making this series since before Black Panther, which was insane. So I think the armor looks really good. What we saw very little bit action. What I didn't know was the Hood was going to be in this show.
Mm-hmm.
And if you guys aren't familiar with Marvel lore, the Hood is really it started off like as a joke character, and then he became like center of Marvel for a little bit. He gained like powers, they didn't know why, and basically we found out he was in league with Mephisto. So like
which I think has been rumored to be in the show.
I've heard rumors.
Mephisto confirmed.
Oh my god!
But I mean, he did finally get name dropped in Agatha.
He did, and it would be. I think it would be really funny if Mephisto ended up showing up in Ironheart, because I feel like, because of whatever social climate we're in right now, a lot of people are like, I don't want to see Ironheart. Like I don't want to see it, whatever. But like, and if Mephisto drops into it, and I don't know, I think it would be really, really funny. The character itself is interesting because the character was always really tied to Tony Stark, but in this MCU, obviously she's never met Tony Stark. I think that she had if I'm correct, she did have the Tony Stark scholarship though, right?
That sounds right, because she went to MIT,
right?
And so I think wasn't it that scholarship he gave out in Civil War? Isn't
right?
That what yeah,
or the grant that he gave out.
The grant, yeah.
So unless they're going to kind of like retcon a little bit, I would like to see a little Tony Stark more involved in her, I guess, origin. I think we already had her origin, but like her, even if her inspiration, right? I would like to see a little bit that. Are you guys familiar with this character?
I know a little bit about like the intro.
Yeah,
I was working in the comic shop when that was introduced, and it was more along the lines of, I know it was like kind of around like the same what's the best way to say it, or I'm saying it wrong. The discourse from the community, I think, was around the same with the Mighty Thor.
Oh, okay.
Where they're like, oh god, yeah, it was one of like, here's female Iron Man kind of thing, and but beyond that, like I really haven't paid too much stock to the character, just because that was, I think, when I was starting to venture to the DC side.
Well, they brought her in.
The thing for me too, is that I had kind of only heard like the, people didn't like the character or whatever, and I didn't. But I was like, okay, but why? Is it just because she's a female Iron Man?
Right.
Like, what is? And like, because I'm sure there's more to it than just that, or I'm sure there's more to her character than just that, and obviously there is. So I don't know, and I think it's one of those weird things where, I saw someone else talk about this show in the video, and I think they summed it up kind of perfectly, where we know that there's the whole retool of how Marvel Television is going to kind of work going forward, and since Ironheart was shot so many years ago at this point, it feels like pretty confident to say that this is kind of the last of that era of like we got to make 50 Disney Plus shows, and so it's like we shot it already, so we're gonna drop it. Like I don't think an Ironheart show would have got greenlit if it was like on the table this year.
With Don, what was it, Bob Iger? With Bob Iger back in
or
charge?
Bob Chapek, yeah, Bob Chapek. Yeah. So if he was still under, if he was still at Disney or whatever, I don't, So, but it's coming out. Hopefully, it's not like a Secret Invasion kind of thing. Hopefully, it's it's a better show than what it might be. Perceived.
Secret Invasion was a very hard watch.
It was yeah.
And I love the comic book series. Was the event was awesome.
It should have been an Avengers storyline. It should have just but that's a whole other thing. But yeah, basically, I'll watch this because I liked her in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
She was the likable character. Her and
yeah.
Her and Okoye were
I like Anthony Ramos, who's playing the Hood. So and I'm also just kind of intrigued to see if this is good, because there's been rumors that this would tie into Armor Wars if that ever actually gets off the ground. And
I've heard so many different things on Armor Wars.
Right. So
it's supposed to be a series, now it's a movie, now it's canceled.
So yeah, it's a tricky thing. Basically, there's just kind of a lot of curiosity with this one, more than I guess I would say genuine interest, maybe. And maybe that's being a little too harsh about it.
I wonder if they're going to air this during kind of a slow time when they don't have a lot of other series on.
Yeah, that would be pretty likely. Kind of just dump it out, or maybe around the time they have something bigger for a different property, not a Star Wars. I don't think there's any Star Wars shows next year, but
Star Wars movies. It's movies
in 2025.
Yeah, well, is it the Mandalorian movie coming out in 2025?
That's in 2026.
So we just found out something at SpaceCon, but they said it behind stage. Okay, so
drop it.
Okay, so they just finished sound on post-production sound on the Mandalorian movie with Pedro Pascal. He already did all his lines.
Right.
So I didn't even know they were filming that movie yet. And
yeah, I mean, I was surprised by that. And then they showed that they didn't release it publicly, but that pretty finished looking trailer at D23.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is this far along for a movie that is slated for May of 2026? That just doesn't seem right. So
they're deep in already in that, and it hasn't been getting a lot of talk because I don't know. It just I guess a lot of people have been focusing on Marvel, but
true.
They already started making that movie, and I hadn't heard anything about that. And I feel like my ears been pretty close to the ground on what things have been going on, and I was like, what? I was like, I didn't even know y'all were making that movie, and it was just like, okay. So, next series, which I'm excited for, is Marvel Zombies. I read the first 3 Marvel Zombies. Excellent series, by the way. If you haven't picked them up, they're definitely worth a read. Imagine sentient zombies that understand what they're doing. It's messed up, and the things that they do is messed up. It's a true horror comic in Marvel. It's really good. But we got a little bit of Marvel Zombies introduced in What If. We're gonna have a full on that, but the big thing about Marvel Zombies is they're trying to take over the world, and then they try to take over the multiverse. So I'm almost wondering if it's a thing where it might bleed into some other properties. If not, the What If going into that, or maybe something kind of teetering up in maybe a future. I don't even know. I'll say maybe Doctor Strange. Something with the supernatural or something like that. We've been
Midnight Suns, possibly.
Midnight Suns is a possibility. But what do you guys are you guys familiar with Marvel Zombies, and what do you guys think about the show?
Yeah, I am slightly. I mean, the most exposure I had to it was the What If episode that this is a spin-off of. Is where I really, because I'd never read the comics of it. I was familiar that they existed, but my first exposure really to the idea was in the What If episode, and I liked that episode of What If. It was not my favorite of season 1, but I definitely think this will be a fun show, especially based off of this was a long time ago. They kind of showed concept art of some of the characters that were going to be in this show, from the Phase 4 movies and stuff like that, and that Kamala Khan is in this, I believe. I think there was a zombie Icarus from the Eternals was going to be in this.
There's also going to
Um,
be a Moon Knight Blade.
Yeah, seamless. See, like I love that. That's amazing. So like, yeah, give me that.
I mean, I grew up with Marvel Zombies. I remember when they first came out, I read them. So I was gonna say like I'm excited for it. I think my favorite part of that wasn't it when Hulk came back crashing down to Earth after World War Hulk, and he like basically just it was him by just destroying the zombies because and
Right,
then
right.
yeah. So I mean that was I think my favorite part of the zombies, but
And then Spider-Man bit him.
yeah,
Yeah. So it's
yeah.
Spider-Man that bit him.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
Smith bit the Hulk after he crashed back to Earth. Moon Knight and Blade. I mean, that's cool. Did you see? I don't know if it was your page because you're so successful with sharing nerd news, Daniel, that I sometimes like want to say something, but then I realize that it's your page that shared it. So I'm like, guy already knows. But did you share that thing about Moon Knight season 2 getting canceled?
I didn't hear about that.
Okay, I saw it
Was
today.
that ever actually like? I know that they never announced it, but was that like genuinely in development?
I'd
I know
assume with
Oscar
how
Isaac
popular.
said he wanted it to
Yeah,
happen.
and it's how
Yeah.
That was the
popular it
last time I heard
was.
anything.
I
on it.
wanted it to happen. I loved Moon Knight.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't heard anything. Where did you hear it from? Was it like actual
It was one of those Marvel. Sorry, my
like
camera
Twitter,
died.
like the
Yeah,
Twitter thing?
yeah.
Oh,
Like
okay.
with like Marvel
I've been
Universe.
being
Like,
careful with them because I
yeah.
already got burned by one of them. So I see them and I try not to take them too seriously. But the last thing I actually saw like official was Oscar Isaac was being interviewed, and they asked him what would you like to do? He's like, I want to go back to Egypt. I want to redo Moon Knight. I want to do season 2.
Yeah.
Just waiting on that. And so, but it's funny because we may not hear anything until like the actors hear anything. I feel like that because we were even at SpaceCon last week, and Ewan McGregor was like, "Why don't they make Obi-Wan Kenobi season 2? It makes sense, right?" And he's just like, "I'm here, I'm waiting." So I feel like a lot of the actors want it.
Yeah, but do you think
Want
they're trolling? Because
I
like
think they are. Yeah,
because like how they all Andrew Garfield not being in No Way Home,
right.
where they're just like they're deflecting, but they're secretly like he's flying back to make film episode 5 of
Right.
season 2 right after the con kind of stuff.
I think the actors sometimes feel like they're not being included as much as they should be if it's a show that's their title character, and they want to be more included.
I mean,
And
that's valid.
I think that was the vibe that I was getting from Ewan McGregor last week. And even Rosario Dawson, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be an Ahsoka season 2 was kind of being like that too, but maybe she hasn't gotten like the final answer also. Oscar Isaac is an elite actor. Like he is.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. One of my favorites.
I love Ewan McGregor and I love Rosario Dawson, but Oscar Isaac is way more
I mean, look, the guy's got 3 Marvel roles, and they're all very distinct.
But not only
Yeah.
that, like his career stands on its own. Like without the superhero, the box office.
I really wish that Star Wars used him more than they did.
He was a great character.
Yeah,
it was a great character.
I mean, even out of the nerddom, he was great in Ex Machina.
I never saw that one.
No, Ex Machina is a good one, and it's got a homie Domhnall Gleeson from Star Wars in it.
From Star Wars,
yeah.
I haven't seen that one, but he's someone I think you would want to appease, right? So
sure.
Even if they don't want to have room for Moon Knight right now, I think they can just make a season 2 without having it to be interfered with anything, and to appease the actor and keep him happy at Disney because he has not ventured off yet from
That's
Disney.
True.
So he's the reason Pedro Pascal's there. So was it, or is it the other way around? No, he's the reason that Pedro Pascal. Because he was already Poe Dameron with Disney.
Yep.
So I think he's someone that you want to keep happy, and you should keep him happy. Just talking from the professional standpoint. So the other series I didn't take screenshots of, the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man looked very interesting in animation. Kind of reminded me of a toned down Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Were y'all getting this was like Tom Holland verse, or was this like just an animated show? I can't tell what it is.
I know that from kind of what they said is that at this, like, it was originally kind of announced that way like a long time ago, because this show has been delayed for a while, either delayed for a while or production just took.
I think production's been slow on this one. Super slow.
And like the show got renamed. It didn't even know, like, it wasn't. I never thought the show was ever coming out. It seemed like it was just like never happening. it felt like the Blade of the Disney Plus
Of the
shows.
animated.
Yeah,
And this one's supposed to have Daredevil in it too.
right. Yeah, with Charlie
Right.
Cox and everything. So like, and who was it? Who was doing Norman Osborn? Was it Coleman Domingo?
Norman Osborn. I didn't even know that Norman Osborn was in this.
Yeah, yeah.
No. This was one I don't know if I followed too closely because I couldn't tell if it was like actually going to be like a
Tom
children's
Holland, yeah.
show or was it going to be like a thing? You know what I mean?
Like it's not going to be like Spidey and His Amazing Friends. It's not going to be like a Disney Junior
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of thing, but I don't think it's going to be, like a what if, like people think it might be.
Right. It's
like,
funny because I thought
or
Rebels
even an
was a
X-Men
completely
97
kid show.
for sure. Yeah, yeah,
And Rebels
yeah.
ended up being so important to Star Wars canon. So you got to be careful with these shows. They don't appear like that, and then they end up being like they change everything. So what do you think, Tyler?
I think it's like Tom Holland inspired. I don't think it's like fully like the Tom Holland Spider-Man, just because I think they are able to do a little bit more stuff with an animated medium versus the live action. But I do think it's like in the same vein as Tom Holland's character already inspired. And I'd like to see it cross over kind of like the old cartoon. I know they're talking about reviving that series as like Spider-Man 98, but I'd definitely like to see if this is the route they take, then yeah, have it just where you're able to bring in a lot more characters,
Right.
whether it's, your Blades, your stuff that maybe it's not going to see the light of day anywhere else.
Right.
Just so they, you're able to actually, because you have such a wealth of characters.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the first show. If it's going to be Tom Holland inspired, I mean, this is the first Spider-Man show that we've had inspired since the MTV Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be like, Tobey Maguire and James Franco, so
Yeah.
that was supposed to be, they were telling us at that time when that show came out was like, this is the continuation of the Spider-Man movie. You know what I mean? So we haven't
one of
really
my favorite Spider-Mans was that one.
That was a good show, and it had
one.
Fantastic Four in it at one point. Like,
Yeah,
there was. I think they had plans with that original Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. There was originally supposed to be a scene where Hugh Jackman was in us walking down.
Oh yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah,
and they got so close to like they brought him on set, and they just didn't do it.
Can you imagine if that had happened and we're at the point that we are now, like the implications that would have had?
We probably would have had the Tom Cruise Iron Man. Is probably what we would have had.
Would have been cool.
In the multiverse somewhere out there.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Not to stray too far off the topic, but you ever see like I've seen on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it, that they'll reshare the Sony Pictures announcement of Spider-Man 4. Like it was supposed to come out like in like 2014.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah,
but it was like they share it like every year on the same anniversary. So here it is, like 20 years later, when they're like, we're still waiting for the movie.
Oh man, that was supposed to have
people use that clip of I don't know what movie it's from, but they use that one clip of Tim Maguire where he was like, that was today.
Yeah. Yeah.
They took it.
Man, it's funny how like things come back because now like every year they talk about like, well, I mean, there's rumors that Disney wants to do it, make the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4. And obviously you couldn't do it the same way. It was gonna have who was going to be Vulture? It was gonna be John Malkovich was gonna be Vulture.
John Malkovich is Vulture. I remember that.
Anne Hathaway was gonna be Black Cat. And then it was supposed to be they were gonna film 4 and 5 back to back. Was what the plans were gonna be. Right. And then it just didn't happen. And then they decided to go with a different Andrew Garfield. So yeah. I wonder why they just like decided not to do that, because what was the ultimate decision? Because those movies, Spider-Man 3 was its own thing, but like they made money and people bought the toys and people bought the clothes and people bought the lunchboxes. Yeah, they were fucking
Jack Kroger and Josie Scott, bro. Hero.
What was it? So it was Dashboard Confessional did one, and what was the other one that was really big?
Sum 41 had one.
Stone Sour, I think.
Stone Sour was in one. I had the first one.
This is way before your time.
Yeah,
Stone Sour. Stone Sour is an alternate version of Slipknot. So
yeah,
it's like it's mass off and more mellow. It's really
it's Corey Taylor and Jim Root. They're different, their band. So yeah, it's two of the guys at the mask. But no, what I mean, Chad Kroger from Nickelback and Josie Scott from Saliva. That's that they teamed up and did the song.
I remember that
movie. Yeah,
I remember
so
that.
It wasn't even Saliva.
I remember freaking Saliva. Like, I haven't said that forever. Like,
bro, I saw them on my prom night. They were playing a concert right across the hotel that our prom was at. So we're like halfway through, we're like, man, we're gonna go to the Saliva and Static X show.
Oh my gosh.
So we
That's
showed up
funny.
in tuxes and everything. Yeah.
That's awesome. Daredevil Born Again. Again, like I said, I didn't put any images because everything's happened too fast. But we're being told, kind of think season 1 Daredevil is the tone of it again. This is the second version of Daredevil they filmed. Apparently, the first version was like a Law and Order season. They looked at it and they said this is crap, and they went back and like actually put Daredevil. So apparently, it was going to be like a court drama. The entire
like no costume, just suits.
It was going to be like I guess so. Like I don't know, Stabler's going to come out the end, put on his Daredevil suit, and just like go, do his own justice. But they came back, they reshot the entire thing. They brought back Foggy Nelson and Page, right? Karen Page. So they brought those characters back because they were supposed to be written. They were not going to be in the MCU apparently, and they're bringing them back.
They're bringing everybody back.
They're bringing everybody back. Now,
Thankfully.
we still don't know how much this is tied to the Netflix Daredevil, which, by the way, if you haven't, I know a lot of people gave up on Daredevil in season 2, but if you haven't seen season 3 of Daredevil, that is amazing. It is like a back to basics Daredevil season, and there's this scene in Daredevil season 3 where, like, because was it Defenders, he had like a building drop on him, so right. Like all his senses are messed up, and like he just like he does the neti pot, and he just blows out all the junk and all the blood in his sinuses, and then he can finally like hear again. Like I just think of that season, I was like, how painful that must have been. But it was a really good season. They introduced Bullseye, who we're hearing is going to be back possibly in this one.
He will. They already have pictures of him in costume.
Yeah, that was a really good origin. So I hope they keep that origin for Bullseye. And that's the way they introduced Adamantium originally. So we'll see how that goes. But what are you guys thinking about Daredevil? I guess he's gonna be out of yellow, but what do you guys are thinking?
I'm so excited for this.
I think it's cool. Daredevil's definitely one of he's a good character. He's one of my favorite characters. Yeah. I know a few people that are way more excited about this than I think anything else in the world. And it was a great cast of characters. The fact that they were able to get everybody back, and some of these people were happy to work with Marvel again after being shown the door. Maybe right. Not so ceremoniously. I think it's cool. I like the deep red of the suit from the little bit, like you said, those flashes in the trailer that we did see. Right. I saw somebody was complaining that he didn't have the double D on the chest.
Right.
And and I was like,
to just not do it at this point. I'm like,
why even Charlie Cox made a comment.
Yeah. So bizarre.
But like, I hope someday I get promoted to get the double Ds. So everyone they keep saying it that way too. So
it was attached to a meme of someone had CGI double D on. So it wasn't the double D. Yeah. So
I mean that was inevitable.
I'm wondering. I mean, I kind of want them to troll a little bit and have She-Hulk show up. And
I love that.
Fun. That'd be really fun.
I think that'd be really cool. I mean, they clearly
at the very least, like name dropper
or phone call, just like
that would work. Yeah.
Just like, hey, you doing okay? Okay,
right.
Well, I had to go back to Brooklyn, or actually, is this going to take place in San Francisco, or is it Brooklyn back to Dallas?
It's in New York because Fisk is running for mayor.
Right.
Because there's a storyline. Isn't Born Again in the comics when he goes to San Francisco?
Yes.
I want to say so because he goes back and forth between San Francisco.
And but I know Wilson Fisk is running for mayor in New York, so that's kind of
there you go. That's right.
Into this, yeah.
And they set that up in Echo, which wasn't that bad, but it was a little bit long. But I'm looking forward to it. I saw the image of the different helmets on there. Where one of them was a Shadowland helmet, which is, if you guys don't know, that's when Daredevil gets like possessed by like a hand demon, which is, if they go that route, that's in well, they kind of did that route with Elektra already because well, I guess we don't know if this is Netflix first, so we'll see. But just the fact that helmet there, it looks really cool. It's an all black helmet, black eyes, black accent. So if they do some alternate costumes, that'd be pretty sweet. I did like the yellow gold. Was it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Hasbro's layout of figures for. I would like to get some of. I really wanted a figure from his She-Hulk suit. I really like that suit.
I do like that.
Ketchup and mustard.
Yeah,
I do like it though. I am not.
I did. I liked it.
I liked it for like if it was the main suit in Born Again,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have liked that.
Right.
Yeah.
But for it being for like just a little cameo
Yeah.
or special guest appearance in a different show, that's fine. I'm cool.
But it was also like a callback to like the original.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I get why they did it. Yeah.
Well, there was like I liked how Hawkeye threw Fisk in the Hawaiian shirt with the blazer on top of it in the episode. Like that was, a callback to one of the issues of Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like
honestly,
those little
what's the actor's name? I forget his name all the time.
Vincent D'Onofrio or something.
D'Onofrio.
D'Onofrio. There you go.
We need a Fisk figure of him. Like
that. They have one. They made him.
There's a Fisk figure of him.
Yeah, I have it upstairs.
Yeah. All right.
They released him in Hasbro made no, it was they put him out in the as a Hawkeye figure.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's pretty good.
Okay, next one, Agatha All Along. Okay, wow. So we are going full spoilers. It's been a week. I know if you follow me on Facebook, I already put spoilers that night. Sorry, it's must see TV. We do that.
Are we talking about just the finale or kind of just the show in general?
We'll talk about we can talk about the show and then the last two episodes. So last week, so
right.
You caught up, right? Everyone's caught up? Okay, good.
Yep, I've seen.
I watched it all today just for you.
Oh my god, no!
I did.
You serious? You watched it all today?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
All 9 episodes?
Yeah, because you're like, we're going to talk about Agatha All Along. And I was like, well, I should probably watch the show now.
Okay, now, having come in late, I have a question for you. What did you, like, without, like, getting too much into it, do you think the show was good?
I liked it.
Okay.
It was one of those things where it's like, did I need this? No. Did I want it? Probably not. But it was done well. It's not characters I really care about. So it was kind of like, when people died, okay. It helps build the world. It had twists that I knew were coming since the trailer.
Right.
But it's one of those things where I like world building, and honestly, anything, you give me a world building, give me something that's gonna just flesh out stuff, and I like the way that this fleshed out the mystical and magical part of the Marvel universe. We have superpowers, and we have so many origin stories, and now you have a little bit more in depth into the magic side of
supernatural.
Exactly, the supernatural side of it. So I did like it from that aspect.
Because even Doctor Strange, like, their aspect isn't. Yeah, it's magical. They're sorcerers and stuff like that, but it's almost like their powers are rooted like in cosmic or somehow.
Yeah. Well, that was the whole thing with Thor in the very beginning. They're like, Thor's not a god; he's an alien from a different dimension, and it's like, well, yeah, but in the comics, like he could be a god, a mystical god kind of thing. Like, yeah. So,
what do you think, Josh? What do you think of the series?
I really liked it. Like a lot from, excuse me, from the time it was announced. I was like, oh, okay. Yep. Like I was like, I loved WandaVision like everyone else did. Right. I liked the character of Agatha. I never would have been like, yes, I would want to watch an entire TV show for her. Yeah. And the longer, earlier I said this about Ironheart, where it kind of feels like, we already made it, so we're going to release it still kind of thing. That's kind of the vibe I was getting from like, the Agatha series, where I was kind of like, I don't think they would have greenlit this if it was like on the table today, but they've already dumped so much into it. They got to go through with it. And I'm happy to say that I feel like that was the wrong assessment. I feel like this actually was a show that I guess I wouldn't say, I mean, technically we don't need any of these shows, right? But
I need them.
Okay, fair enough. I guess the greater MCU doesn't need them, but
touche.
But I'm glad that we got it. I'm really happy with how it picked up from WandaVision. It connected to WandaVision a lot more than I thought that it would. I don't know why I thought that it wouldn't, because like obviously it would, but I thought maybe like I wasn't sure if this was going to kind of be more of a, here's what Agatha did before WandaVision, kind of thing. And it was in which we did get some of that, for sure, which I would have expected. But no, overall, I really, really liked that it basically felt like a season 2 of WandaVision without Wanda.
It really
for
did.
Vision.
That's a really good way to put it, I think.
Yeah.
Especially for someone if you haven't watched it yet, it really is a continuation of WandaVision.
Yeah, I mean, down to like I think what really
This
sold
comment
that
here
to me.
though,
Yes.
that
Yes.
that song is just every
I
time I hear it, like I kind of just stop and listen.
I've
And
been listening to it on repeat. Like I've been working on cleaning up my room this week. I got a new bed that I had to build and everything. So while I'm doing that, it's just blaring on my speaker constantly. I love it.
so I
Yeah,
don't know
so
if you
good.
guys were following me on Facebook. I know Tyler was on Instagram and Facebook, but like I got invited to for the Acolyte. I got invited to like the early screening to go check it out, and I hadn't like kept up on anything that the community was saying about the Acolyte. And I went to go see it, and I was like, the first 2 episodes were like pretty good, right? And I enjoyed it, made a positive review on it, and then I just got like bombarded, like you woke mother, what this and that. How much is Disney paying you? And I was like, what is going on? And then like I remember, if you guys know, like I hang out with General Kenobi's bunker, Jose, a lot. And I was just like, I remember calling him like, dude, like, what is going on? Like, I've gotten like 150 comments, like calling me like a woke asshole or something like that. And he was just like, yeah, there's been a lot of like bad press because, of the people involved in the show. And
Well, and I think at this point, we're what 5 years into Disney Plus being a thing. I think that
Jesus, it's
the
been that long.
I know, right? The Star Wars shows, in the Marvel shows have each kind of carved out their kind of own set of expectations that people are just not going to shake. And so,
right,
like, I feel like a Disney Plus show is practically not doomed because it's not like, these all bomb or whatever, but it's kind of doomed to just be always a divisive topic for really no
right,
reason. If you
Yeah.
like if you like any, and this is for not even just for Agatha, it's for every single Marvel and Star Wars show that's come out. If you vibe with it, cool, that's
right.
great. If you don't, that's fine. Like it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just a show, and I think that you know and it could be a problem with, and it's a lot more with the Marvel thing than the Star Wars thing. I think at this point, when we're getting shows that are so, or focuses on characters that are so like, I mean, what would you guys say Agatha was before this show? Like a C-list character, maybe?
I would say D.
Yeah, D
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly. And
Yeah.
so like, there's kind of a two sides to that. It's kind of, is that really dumb and desperate, or is that really kind of cool and intriguing? Because
Right.
there's a lot you can do with that, or there's also a lot where it could feel like it's just sort of scraping the bottom of the barrel. So it's a hard balance to strike that I think some of these shows have done well, and some of them have not. And this is one that's done well. I
Right.
will also say that with this being out and it coming from the same creative team and everything as WandaVision, as we talked about, I am now very excited for the Vision Quest series that's coming out.
Yeah. And
Since
Paul
that
Bettany said that's going to be a continuation
right,
of WandaVision.
yeah, and so because that's got Paul Bettany, and we know that James Spader's coming back as Ultron.
Right.
So I'm very interested in that because I assume that will, because like at this point now I'm kind of curious, like how is that going to be a sort of sequel to Agatha?
Yeah.
I assume that like possibly like Billy and Tommy will be involved in that.
Right.
Or maybe and so and like now we know that if Billy's along, then that would then bring Agatha with them and stuff like that. So very very intrigued to see where this is going to go now, and that's just not what I would have expected going into this. I had a lot of fun.
I agree. I guess the point I was trying to make was, I got a lot of pushback from the Acolyte, and the Acolyte had its problems.
Right.
Like it was ultimately like a very mediocre show, right? So, where
I think it was
Agatha,
definitely blown out of proportion for sure. The hate.
exactly. But they did the press before this. I remember Aubrey Plaza, I think it was Variety or something, was interviewing her and saying like, what do you think about this being the gayest Marvel show that there's ever been? And she goes, I hope it is because that's what I signed up for. And the anti-woke was like, here it is again. You know what I mean? Like, here it is. And then I remember the first episode came out. The first 2 episodes came out the same day, right? And the first episode was like okay, but the second episode was like amazing, right? And then I just remember people were like, they just like stopped doing that. Like, you know what I mean? Like I didn't hear, as far as like word, like as much as crap I was getting on the Acolyte, I did not get that on Agatha, right? The only thing I think I got on Agatha, because I did post a lot on Agatha and I got a lot of engagement and I got a lot of reactions, that it was like, who is anybody actually watching this? And people would be like, yeah, we're watching it. Like that was like the response to it. And it stopped becoming this like we're gonna attack it because it's woke thing, because even though it's funny, because this show was probably had more actually had gay characters compared
Mm-hmm.
to the Acolyte did, right? The Acolyte didn't actually have gay characters, but this one, well, okay, I'll take it back. Acolyte did have the gay witches, right? But it wasn't like big deal, where this kind of put this more in your face, but people complained about this less because it was a better written show, right?
Yeah.
So this flowed way way better than the Acolyte did. Every episode built off the last episode, and there wasn't a bad episode in this entire
No.
season. Like that is not something I don't think Marvel has done since
There
Loki
was no
season 2, maybe.
episodes that like none of them felt like a filler.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what I mean. Loki season 2 was recently, but I'm trying to think anything before that, because even WandaVision had fillers, and
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's actually had one that's flowed this well. I can't. If anybody could think of anything in the chat, please, make sure to.
What would you say about something like What If, where they're all individual kind of things? Like, does that really count?
But it's like the anthology. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
And the first season was very much an anthology. The season 2 is when it kind of started.
Because like,
Yeah.
because Miss Marvel and Moon Knight both have like pretty noticeable dipping points.
Right.
I don't think Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah.
But I don't think Falcon and Winter Soldier like lived up to its hype.
I think I liked it too, but I think it just kind of stumbled towards the end.
Yeah, maybe it was a lack of a clear villain of that one. Like
yeah. I think that's definitely part of it. And, I don't know. It's tricky, and I think what's really interesting too is also you got to think about the fact that WandaVision and Agatha are the only ones that got 9 episodes instead of 6.
Right.
And so it had more time to be able to kind of, play with these concepts to their more fullest extent. And, and we still got, I forget what episode it was of Agatha, but I thought there was one that was relatively short too, like only 30 something minutes with like, and then with credits, it was like maybe not less than 30, but there was one that was like on the shorter side, which I was surprised by, but like it still worked out. No, I agree with you. It's just there's like I wouldn't have cut anything out. I think things happened right when they should have happened.
Right.
Especially once you get on once they got on the road,
right.
Like you guys were saying with episode 2, then it's just you're in it. It's great.
So I'm gonna do a quick synopsis of episode 8 and 9, and then we'll just go full talk on it. So episode 8 is they're on the Witch's Road. It is just Jennifer Kale, Agatha, and Wiccan left, right? Or Billy Maximoff. So
yes,
they get caught in this new room. They go back to Agatha's basement, which is now like a grow room, I guess. It's like very Saw like atmosphere in there. Their challenges, they have to figure out what they were or how to achieve what they are there for before the lights turn off. We find out that Agatha was the one that actually binded Jennifer, so she was the reason for the last 100 years Jennifer has not had her witch powers, and Jennifer immediately figures that out, unbinds herself, and she got what she needed from the road, and she disappeared. Billy is there, Agatha is there. They have a moment. I guess before that, Agatha did talk to Death, and where we find out that Death didn't know about Billy being there, and Agatha had been trying to protect Billy from Death. And basically, she said she would hand over Billy because Death could not take Billy on her own because Billy is that powerful now. So he has to be able to go die willingly now. Otherwise, he will keep on reincarnating himself. So she says she's going to conspire to help her, but Agatha seems weirdly not agreeable to that. She's usually very campy in her responses, and she seems very stressed out about this situation. Any event, we find out that what Billy really wants on the road, which we kind of all figured out, was to find Tommy. Agatha helps him figure out that power, and we find out that he was able to transport Tommy into a boy that was just dying, was being drowned by I guess, not classmates or friends or anything, but other boys. He seemed very scared because that boy had no one, that he was very unsupported. People, he said, like, nobody loves this boy. He's on his own. And she said, doesn't matter. It's always something. Bring Tommy back. And he does. Billy gets what he needs from the road and he takes off. Agatha is there alone. She goes through her locket, finds a seed in her locket with Nicholas's scratches hair, her son's hair, plants the seed. The grow lights start working. She uses her teeter for nourishment, and it starts breaking. Although, like, it didn't really want to let her out, which was weird. The road, so she kind of like forced her way out. Death is waiting for her. Once Billy shows up, full Wiccan. Was a really good intro. This show, I have to say, you can tell is very low budget from what they normally deal with. They're always
true.
They're always in a room. They're not very often in open spaces.
I think because I think it was reported that this had the lowest budget of all of the Disney Plus shows thus far.
They made up for it in different ways,
and somehow like that, and like that's not even a like criticism. I think they actually made it look really good for what they had to work with.
Wiccan suit looked really good. I enjoyed it. He showed up, repowers Agatha. Agatha has a moment where she tries to fight Death, realize they can't kill Death because it's Death. And she was kind of had this weird moment where she was like, take Billy, and Billy Jedi mind tricks her. And, basically, reminds her like, this is how was what your son would like. And she turns around, she kisses mommy, Death, Aubrey Plaza, whatever. She kisses mommy, and apparently it's the kiss of death, and she dies, and Agatha dies. And she really does die. She dies. Wiccan, he's cool.
Oh, speaking of that, so yeah. I tried my best to go into this, like, to all the episodes, but especially the 2-part finale without any spoilers, right? And I got spoiled on the Agatha and Death kiss in the funniest way, because somebody tweeted out that there was listed in IMDb an intimacy coordinator for episode 6 and episode 8. And I went, are you kidding me? That's how I learned that was going to happen.
That is interesting. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was like, episode 6. I'm like, okay, that was the Billy episode. Okay, that makes sense.
Oh, that's right.
And then I was like, episode 8. I'm like, so there's going to be a kiss or something intimate? And I'm like, oh, okay.
Welcome to 2024, y'all. We have... What is that? Where's that really bad? Oh, not that really. That Shia LaBeouf was in Nymphomaniac. I wonder if there was an intimacy coordinator on that movie.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Oh man, I just saw a meme on that. It was
I saw it too about the
flying posters. It was like
I saw one was like when the captain says you're flying over 30,000 feet. Yeah.
And it's all the posters.
And it's all the posters, yeah.
People who love feet. It's like everyone with their O face. Yeah, we're rated R, guys. Anyways, so Wiccan wins. He has a very Wanda Maximoff way of leaving Westview, which is very reminiscent of that from WandaVision, except the crying. He goes back to his home. He starts looking around his room. And he's like, I saw this. I seen this. I saw all this. And we realized that everything on the Witch's Road was created by him. And it didn't have to be said, but we realized everything there was created by him. And we hear a boo. And obviously it's Agatha. And it's funny because I was like, I wonder if they're running episode 8 and 9 together where we're not going to notice it when we're watching it, right? And I almost thought like that was going to be the finale episode because it played like a finale.
It felt just like a finale. Like I'm sitting there and I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, so we're fighting Death. I'm like, she was kind of the final boss. We got our obligatory Young Avenger character shows up with their suits or whatever. Like we got the obligatory like Disney Plus finale character gets suit moment, and I'm like, so what is gonna be like? They're out of the Witch's Road. I'm like, what is this finale gonna be? And then then Agatha died, and I'm like, okay. So I was really, really, really intrigued what the finale was gonna be, and then that final scene, like you were just talking about, just when it clicked for me, like what they were doing with that, I was just like, Oh, okay, that's really cool. So I was,
Right.
I was, I was genuinely caught off guard with that. I thought that
I
was a
was too.
really fun reveal.
I really thought they were like like the way we were watching it. We were
Yeah,
watching it without having to rewatch the credits and
right.
rewatch like the intros.
Because
I was like,
because I at first I kind of thought like when they're showing all the things that are on in his room and correspond to the road. I thought maybe I think my first impression was that it wasn't that he had created the road. It was just that the road took like aspects of like everybody's personalities or like depending on. And then when it started clicking over, I was like, no, wait, this is not just like plucking random things from the different characters' lives. It's actually just all stuff specifically from this room.
right,
So
right.
it's like, yeah, this is okay. This is really cool. And then when you think about like how Wanda, you know, also like unintentionally did something like that, but
That's a good point.
it's
That's a
it's
good
just
point.
yeah, it's just very cool. Like kind of that parallel where like they
Well,
both
also
basically did the same thing,
they have the same
but
power set, essentially.
exactly. So
That's
there's
what we didn't
yeah,
know. We
right.
thought Wiccan was just like a powerful witch, right? And we
With
didn't
the
know
mind
he
reading too.
with the mind reading, but we didn't know he could alter reality like
No,
Wanda could. Like
no, right.
that was the big reveal.
And it
Was
seems
that
like he can do it on a pretty intense level.
yeah? I mean,
So-
for his age and for not just discovering
oh,
his power and
and one thing
everything.
I want to say too is that what that reveal does too is it really retroactively makes the previous episodes really interesting. I want to do a rewatch,
That's a good point.
because like there was one episode where they never really, they still kind of technically didn't like really elaborate on it. Not that there really needed to be anything to elaborate it on, but now with this reveal, so there was that episode. I think it was episode 7. It might have been 7 when they're in the tunnels, and it was going back with Lydia's whole like jumping with time thing and everything, and Jen and her were in the tunnels, and Jen almost takes the exit on that subway, the
Right,
abandoned subway
right.
that Mrs. Hart had talked about. So she had talked about how there underneath Westview there was abandoned subway tunnels. So the tunnels that were like part of the Witch's Road were real, and everything around them were just Billy's illusion. That's why like they were able to like they were still alive underground and stuff like that.
It's probably
Uh,
also why they couldn't fly very long on the
right,
brooms.
right, right. Yeah. So like they were actually in like a bunch of like this entire time they were actually just in these subway tunnels, these abandoned subway tunnels that Billy had unintentionally like made
It's funny.
look
'Cause
like something
I don't
else.
remember that
Yeah,
line, but it makes sense now because the subway tunnel part was weird, and the
yeah,
intersection part of it.
right.
But they
It's
probably could have just been going like they were going in a circle, right? But they probably
yeah,
just been going to the same places, not knowing it because Billy was altering reality
right,
the
right.
entire time. That's
Yeah,
interesting. I didn't think
yeah,
about that.
because like they set it up very like subtly in like episode. It was whatever episode they were in that first trial with the poison and stuff like that. I
Right.
think. Yeah, Mrs. Hart said something about the subway tunnels, and we saw it with and I thought when we saw that crossroad with Jen like deciding if she was going to escape or not, I thought it was just kind of a cheeky thing that the tunnel, like the subway thing, was there as the exit. I thought that was just like a cheeky like callback. I didn't realize that there was probably more to it than that when you really kind of learned what was really going on there.
I thought it was
That's
like a dimension. I was actually honestly kind of thinking the Matrix a little bit for I don't know why it
oh
was,
no
but
no yeah yeah kind of
yeah,
like an exit point. Yeah,
right. Like
exactly right.
yeah, so that's I was thinking like it was just like a way to get out.
Or, or it's like going back to Power Rangers. It's like the dimension train from the Samurai and RPM crossover.
Huh? Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. Keep your helmets on though.
Yeah, exactly.
But they didn't make it seem like I said to pay homage to Wanda. I mean, yeah, but he doesn't know a lot about that. But I guess the show could for sure.
Mhm.
So episode 9, we find out. I think the big thing we find out in episode 9. Well, obviously, we find out Agatha's origin, but like she was never a good person.
No.
Never a good person ever. She's always killed
Oh,
witches.
and that's also something I was really surprised by. I really thought when they when you see that there's gonna be a spinoff for like the main villain of WandaVision.
Like there's a
Like
reason
yeah,
she's bad, right?
yeah, right. Like well, I was like basically I'm like, okay, how long is it gonna take until we redeem her?
Right.
And we don't.
We don't.
Like
Yeah.
we humanize her more
Right.
and we can sympathize with her more, but we can't. But like she's not redeemed. She's not a
She's
hero.
always been a murderer.
Yeah.
Always.
I mean, I guess you could maybe make the argument she's sort of like an anti-hero, but he definitely more leaning towards a villain than, like, I don't know. It's a tricky thing.
I think it's just Billy. That's it. And I mean, it's
Maybe.
it's really just
Maybe.
the one person. It's because it's Nicholas, and we find out
Right.
basically about Nicholas and how he died, and was it really because she wanted the Darkhold? Well, we
Right.
find out that Agatha did have Nicholas scratched. It's this really sweet scene. She goes, "I spoke no spell, I said no incantation. You were made from scratch," and she truly loved her son, but he was supposed to die at childbirth, and Death comes to collect Nicholas as a baby, and she was like, I want more time, or I don't want this, and Death basically says, I can only give you more time. Doesn't say when she's going to come back, but allows Nicholas to be born. Nicholas is born, she's happy, and we're thinking, oh, she's going to have this motherly montage. No, she carries that baby to the next witches coven. She uses the baby as a way to get in, and she kills them all just because that it's now easier. And she even makes a comment to Nicholas as a baby, we're a good team. Like,
Yeah.
so, and she uses Nicholas throughout the years, his young child years, to lure witches in to kill them. That's her thing. She kills witches. They never really explain why she kills witches. She just does. So
Yeah.
she says she does it to survive.
She basically just does it because she can.
Exactly. But the big thing we find out about the whole entire series is that the song, the Witches Road song, it was made up by Nicholas.
Yeah.
Nicholas sang the song. It wasn't the Witches Road, it was the windy road. Down, down, down the windy road. And he made up all the words to this song. So they sing it often, and he even uses it as a way to lure in witches, windy road song, to get people to pay attention and be cute. And he seemed to do it. He seemed to like it, and he kind of took off. Unfortunately, he's 6 years old now. He starts coughing a little bit, and we kind of see like it's time. He goes to sleep with his mother. Death comes in the middle of the night, but what Death does an interesting thing. He's going towards Death, and he walks off, and she goes no, and she's telling him to go say goodbye to your mother, and he kisses her goodbye, which as a parent, it's just like, oh, this whole thing kills me. Like, but like
I definitely want to say too, just while you mentioned it and everything, Aubrey Plaza's death is just, oh my
yeah,
god. Like, from even before we knew she was deaf, like just having Aubrey Plaza in a show with witches and stuff like that and magic, like I was already like, okay, that's awesome. That's a great casting,
yeah,
regardless of who she's playing. I don't know what she's doing, but that's great. As we learned who she was, which I did know that because it was spoiled from a Funko Pop.
right. Me too. Yeah,
So like I knew that she was, so it wasn't a reveal for me, but which that was fine. Like I probably, I don't, I feel like maybe honestly I would have felt it to be kind of weird, a weird reveal if I didn't already know it, maybe. But however, really cool. I love that kind of you know, uh, depiction of death being this sort of like not like a bad thing, quote unquote. Like
right.
just kind of like
Just there, just kind
yeah,
of,
it's
yeah,
just a thing. Like death isn't a villain per se.
right,
Like she's not. She plays it as like a dark and like evil character. The final battles with her technically or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. I just really liked the depiction of her. As in, it just thought of that when you were talking about the scene of Nicholas's death and just how um like how peaceful it was in a weird way. For what it's depicting. Which is like you're saying a really sad thing.
right.
So
I mean, it's a thing, and um, I think Aubrey Plaza's. I think it's a really smart character to bring her in. Like, as a smart as an actress to bring her in, because she can play any different way. And you can't. She almost has this aspect where like she kind of always looks like she's bad. Aubrey Plaza, like she's up to no good, but she inherently knows how to play. Like the sweet person. And honestly, like we see in this episode, like Death wasn't always like mad at Agatha, right? Like we
right.
really know why Death is mad at Agatha, per se. If anything, she should be happy because she's been killing all these witches for years and years and years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, basically, we find out like after Nicholas dies, she gets upset and she starts killing witches again. But she finds out that they make this on the Witches Road, right? And it had become popular, and she realized that other witches were discovering it and were looking for the Witches Road, and she uses it as basically like a ploy to get in witches just to kill them. So we find out in episode 1 that she had intended to kill all the main cast members there in episode 1, and then when Billy created the witch's road in front of her, she had no freaking clue what was going on. So imagine you're playing this ultimate prank throughout these hundreds of years. Killing these witches is one way, and then just one day it's just like it's right there. Like like I made this up. Like it's just
well, and it explains too. Like when the door did open, like Agatha looked shocked,
right? Yeah,
and she had going into it, we're told that she had already walked the witch's road.
Right.
So like why is this surprising to her? So it's really cool. Just like it's such a great reveal. The whole like reality of the witch's road, and then the origin of the song, kind of double back-to-back reveals are so good because neither of them feel like a cop-out.
Right.
Neither of them feel like something that wasn't planned from literally the beginning of the whole show. Like it feels very like we knew the whole time this is what this thing was going to be, and we just didn't tell you that until the end, and that's really really cool. So
I thought it was a really good way. It was a really good twist. Very M. Night Shyamalan. I don't know how to say his last name.
No, yeah. No, for sure.
Shyamalan.
Yeah, that kind of third act, like
exactly. But it was a good way, and like you said, it humanized Agatha. And we were talking, Tyler, like even though it humanizes Agatha, we realize like she's never been a good person. No. She's always been a murderer. She's always been in it for herself. But there was a time that she was in it for herself and her son, and that was it, right? And we see the similarities in how we understand more like why she sees Billy as a son that lost his mother, right? And a son that died. He died. Right. He was dead, right? And she sees him back, and almost like she doesn't want to be motherly to him, but she like almost can't help it because she wants to protect him. She doesn't know why. She hates Wanda. She still hates Wanda. But Billy, he's like the boy she could have had, right?
Yeah. Like, well, and it's like well, from WandaVision and stuff too, where like Agatha was babysitting the kids in the sitcom, realm or whatever. Like, so like, technically, you whatever you want to say in terms of like what was real and what was going on there and stuff, but like she did kind of already know like Billy and Tommy at like
that's true,
pretty deep like motherly level. So
and Billy used to read her mind in WandaVision too.
Right.
Because Billy was like, something's wrong with you.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
I mean, Tyler, what do you think of, we haven't really talked about like, her coming back as a ghost yet, but like everything before that, what do you think about like the reveal of Agatha, like kind of Nicholas Scratch and kind of like everything lead up to that finale?
It was cool. Giving, I guess, a little bit of background and depth for it, like for the reason to, I guess, like you said, humanize her, to show something that you can kind of relate to, just not have a character that you're just like, yeah, you're just pure evil and I don't care anymore. It's like you got a reason to care about the character. I like the costume. Like Wiccan's costume is great. That's another thing. I feel like all these practical costumes they knock it out of the park with everything. So it's really cool. Like I said,
I hadn't seen this. That's cool.
Yeah, so they took pieces of Vision's and Wanda's suit, and then how he was wearing that.
I did not know about the Vision like connection there. That's really cool.
They said the Mind Stone is somewhere on there, but I can't see it. Oh, sorry, mommy.
I saw that
before. But I can't find. They said there's a Mind Stone somewhere in here, but I haven't seen it. And I had another image that was closer to it, but I still couldn't find it. But the sweater right here, or like the Under Armour sort of thing, it's made out of Billy's sweater that he was wearing the entire series. So it has the different symbols on them. I don't know what you call them, the incantations or whatever. That has the different symbols that they have been showing. Like
runes, is that what they were
called? Runes. Yes. One of them, someone noticed that there was an X, and they're like, "That's not a rune," and it's a circle with an X in it, and they're like, "Interesting." And so off topic, but yeah, the suit I thought was really good. I really love the crown. I think the crown just like ties it in. Like I know it's not comic accurate, right? But like it's better.
And so what? Like I like
It's
the
how
way it glows. I love
yeah,
I love the hue of it, the way
the
he looks
blue, the like
specifically on it.
yeah.
Because Joe Locke is a good looking man, so like
Mhm.
the whole thing like just ties in perfectly. And honestly, this show has made me to want to go. I know there's another on another Netflix show. It makes me want to go watch more of what he's been in because he's been solid this entire series as an actor.
It really made me want to see him. Like I don't know if what where how the plans are for a Young Avengers project.
It's I keep on
Like
thinking they keep on hearing they're canceling it and they keep on bringing more.
yeah,
Like
it's so weird. It's like for a thing that has been very obviously being set up. I mean, you can't
right.
deny it. Like
yeah.
obviously, where are we going with
Okay, this is
this?
only a second show. Okay.
So I'm very, very intrigued and really want to see him return. Like I want to see who they would cast as Tommy. I want to, how they would
Right.
bounce off each other and stuff like that.
I was wondering if they
Um,
had cast Tommy because they were really careful not
yeah,
to show any face
right.
in the drowning scene.
I was actually very surprised that they I guess I wouldn't say they showed the restraint because that makes it kind of sound like they couldn't help themselves, like they wouldn't have been able to help themselves otherwise. But I really genuinely thought that there was like no way that this show was gonna end without us actually seeing Tommy like for real.
Right, right.
And the fact that we didn't, but know that he's out there, I think is
Yeah.
really cool, and I really want to see how that gets resolved.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
please, Marvel, like
figure it out.
give us an official green light on a Young Avengers movie Disney Plus show. I don't care what it is, just give us something.
I
I
really
want to see
thought
these
that we would
characters.
get like I guess they kind of talked about it in episode 7 and she's like Wiccan's asking Agatha, "Is my mom dead?" And she's like, "Yes." No. I don't know. Like, it was like
Yeah, yeah.
she called her my ex friend, and I was like, that's
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah.
So there's a thing there too, but I think she was just kind of messing with
Well,
him.
and I know too because I was kind of watching some videos, around the comics of these, origins and stories of these characters and everything. I know that there's a story, where like the Young Avengers kind of go looking for Wanda or something like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
hmm
So it
After
seems,
House of M.
yeah. So it seems like that's, I mean, seems like a perfect thing for them to do as the storyline for a project, right? Like it's,
Right.
I definitely think we'll get Vision Quest first, obviously, to kind of see what seeds that sows with like Vision's kids
Right.
that they'll most likely introduce, and maybe Tommy and stuff like that. Like, it's got to connect to this somehow in a big way, and so I'm very curious.
I mean, the interesting thing is that the vision that's out there, the albino vision, is made of the parts of Vision, but the parts of Vision were never used in Wanda's Westview. So that
Right,
vision was a complete
fabrication.
right. So why would that vision have any tie to anything that happened in WandaVision? You know what I mean? So like that's the
Well,
kind of interesting
he got Vision's like memories at the end.
he
hmm
did.
Before, yeah,
Yeah.
when after that fight between the two of them, and they talk about like the ship of Thesis and stuff like that. Um, the it is confusing. The illusion vision like held White Vision's like head or something like that.
That's
Like
right, and that's how he
Yeah.
snapped out of that
like
was
transfer.
robotic thing.
He like
Right.
transferred his consciousness or something. That's what it
Okay.
seemed like, at least. So I think White Vision is kind of having an identity crisis. Like
It's
I think.
albino vision, Josh. We got it. That's what it is.
Oh, my
I'm
bad.
just joking.
I'm
No,
fine.
no, no.
But no, I think,
God.
yeah, I think he's kind of out there, just sort of like thinking he was one thing, and then having the memories of like,
He's questioning his own existence.
right, exactly. So I think that's kind of which makes Ultron.
It's very Madeline Pryor.
Very much so. Which makes Ultron returning in that show very interesting, because he was supposed to be a vessel for Ultron, so now he's gonna have to like fight. He's fighting internally,
Right.
but he also is gonna now have to like fight the being that was supposed to that he was supposed to be in the first place. So
Well,
it's
Ultron's
very
an extension of him in some way.
right,
You
right,
know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
Because of the
Yeah.
body. That was Ultron's
Exactly.
body.
So it's
Yeah.
gonna be very interesting to see like how that all connects together. It's great knowing that if Jack Schaefer is working on a Disney Plus show, it seems like there's actually like a pretty solid plan there.
That's good.
So
Yeah.
you know we're 2 for 2 on that so far. So yeah, can't wait to see. And this looks so awesome. I love
Dude, yeah, this looks
this
good.
outfit.
The practical makeup on this was really, really good. I know they kind of touched
That
it up a little bit.
shot where they did, you know, the tarot card art, and which, by the way, I don't know if you guys saw, they're selling the tarot deck.
I saw that. I saw
Yeah.
that they were,
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, so like that's up for pre-order right now. I was like, that's really neat. But yeah, no, that whole reveal where she like, you know, kind of tilts her head with the sickle and everything like that, like that was in the tunnel. Loved that.
That was hard to find an image though because it was so dark
Yeah.
and there was no good images. But I'm glad that they released these after the show because
Yeah.
we didn't get too good of a shot of it. We only saw it kind of like when she turned. This is what we
Right.
got.
Right.
It was. I thought it was really, really good. Again, Aubrey Plaza, amazing actress. Totally in love with her. I can fix her.
It's okay. I think she could fix me. So
the kiss of death was a cool little thing. Kind of made it a thing. I thought that was really cool. Now I wanted to talk to you guys about this because I don't remember this Tommy little statue anywhere in Multiverse. Do you guys remember it? And if so, did you guys notice it? Because apparently they brought this out from Multiverse, and it's always been there.
Really, it was in the Wondagore.
Yeah.
Like, I'd say that I never personally noticed that. But
Yeah. I never saw it. They pulled it out. I was like, that's interesting. But we always kind of knew he was going to come back as far as like a storyline stuff.
So I like this, like, I like the inclusion of just this statue. It's like supposed to be Tommy. That's like so much different compared to the other two,
right?
Like far away and yeah.
I don't know, Tyler. What do you think? Because a lot of people were complaining, like the kid that played Tommy originally, or not Tommy, Billy originally was is the right age to be doing this now, right? But what did you think about the reason why they're not using him? Because I mean, like it not being his body and kind of going back to the comics a little bit. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's cool. I think I like it. It adds like a different layer to the mythos of like comic books in general. Like I like that, you know, the whole kind of going in a new vessel or, you know, a dying vessel kind of thing. I don't know if it would have had the same effect as if we used that same actor. So him being so young, like it would have, you know, worked for continuity sake. But I do think that the way they did it and they played off again, like my earlier comment saying about the magic and the supernatural of comic books, I think it fits right in.
Right.
So I like it.
I think it makes sense because like in the comic books, like he looks like, you know, he's supposed to look like how he did when Wanda made him, right?
Yeah.
But like, why would that happen here? Why would there be somebody out there that actually already does look exactly like him, right?
Yeah.
And instead we got some. I mean, Joe Locke looks similar to that kid, right?
Yeah.
In some aspects, but you know, I think it was a good way, and it's also a good way to bring in. Although, you know, I'm hearing it's his second show, but this kid is a great actor, man. Like he's good.
He was.
And
I mean, he was funny. He was able to I was able to take him seriously when the show needed to. Like, I really liked the whole focus episode showing, you know, like what happened to him and everything. Like that was just and how we got to where he was at the start of the show. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he was great. Definitely a standout in this show.
I agree. And he complimented Catherine Hahn really well. I feel like Catherine Hahn can compliment anyone really well, but like them two like work well really together. So the reveal, we found out like she's a ghost now, and she's like cool with it. She's trying to figure it out. Billy tries to like banish her, and she kind of like he stops when she realized like the reason she's not moving on is because she doesn't want to face her son, because she did use something that he created to kill, I don't even know, probably thousands of witches, right? She would kill covens at a time. So she was always killing multiple witches at every single time using his song. She wasn't really. And we find out that basically, you know, Billy killed people too, just didn't mean to. He killed Miss Hart. He killed Lila. He killed Alice. So, which is the Alice one? I don't know what you guys say. Like, cause she overcame her curse, and so technically she should have got what she needed from the Witch's Road. So why did she disappear at
Oh, that's
that
true.
time? And the only reason I could think is because she didn't complete the road, but she got what she needed from the road. So that felt like a little bit of a plot hole to me. I don't know what you guys think about that.
I think okay. So I guess my way of reading it is that so like if we take it like now knowing the information that we know about the actual existence of the road or whatever,
Right.
so we know that like we were told that if they got what they were looking for, they would leave. So at that up to that point, none of the other witches had like got what they were looking for.
Right.
They just died. And Jen, we saw at the end, she didn't get like teleported out. She like dug her way up through the ground.
And she still thinks the Witch's Road like is real.
Right.
Mhm.
So I think, and then but when we get to that point, it's just Agatha, her, and Billy, and so I think that like Billy obviously like probably wouldn't have even been able to die on the road since he was unintentionally causing it. So I think I would read it as the reason why Alice didn't disappear is that he subconsciously didn't think to do that until it got down to like the last people that like weren't in it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so and that were still alive. So
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, Agatha still killed Alice, right? So he really killed
yeah,
he really killed Lila and Mrs. Hart. That's the two he really did kill.
right.
But Agatha reminds him, like, I was going to kill them all from day one. So
Yeah.
you really saved one person in Jennifer. So like that's the way she's like, if you do like witch math, apparently. Like that's what it is.
Which man.
Which man?
He's kind of like, I guess, but like he makes a mural to them, and they're gonna go off and to find Tommy. That was where it left off, and we had no end credit scene, which I was really surprised about.
Yeah, none of the episodes had one, and I was because I know sometimes the previous shows like random episodes have
Yeah.
it's very inconsistent with that.
But it's also like we knew this budget of the show was really low, like
Yeah.
really low, and we could tell by watching it. Like,
Well, and also like for something like this, what would they have been? Like what would what were we gonna set up? What were we gonna Now I was wondering, did any of you think that with the Mephisto name drop that he was gonna show up at all? Or did you think that was just just to do it?
I think it was them hearing all the comments and all the conspiracy theories from every single show.
Yeah, just having to kind of lean into it.
And they threw it in. So
I read an article that they were talking to the showrunner for WandaVision, and he said that he didn't know Mephisto existed while they were making the show. He didn't know until people were talking about Mephisto. Is Mephisto coming when the lead up to the show,
right?
And during the show. So I feel like them throwing it in was like, we're sorry. Like like we it would have made more sense for us to bring it up in WandaVision, but we're just gonna bring it up now. Obviously, I don't know what the fandom's like obsession with Mephisto is. Like it's such a he's not even that big of like a character in Marvel. Like he's done some big things, but it's not like he's not like Doctor Doom. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
It's not like we always found it when they finished an arc, they were like, man, we never found out whose fault this all was. And it was like, dude, you know what I mean? Like that's how it was for the longest time. It was never Mephisto, you know what I mean? So it was always Doom. So I don't know what the fandom is. Maybe it's because they want Ghost Rider, because he creates Ghost Rider.
I don't want Ghost Rider, but
I mean Jennifer Kill is the cousin of Johnny Blaze. Yeah. So
only if Nick Cage comes back though.
Dude.
Please.
Did y'all ever see Ghost of Vengeance or Spirit of Vengeance?
Hell yeah, I saw that shit in the theaters.
That was such a bad movie.
No, it wasn't. It was hilarious.
Danny Ketch was like this little kid, and like, nah, man, that was.
It was great. Movie. What's his name though? God, I always say his name bad. Sierra Hans or Hans or
yeah.
He was great as I don't know who the hell he played. And then they got the flamethrower scene. You know what I'm
Ah,
talking about?
Such
Yeah.
such ridiculous movies.
You know, when the kid asks you,
Yeah.
Such ridiculous movies.
you know, when the kid asks you, goes, "What happens when you use the restroom when your
Nope,
head's on
nope.
fire?"
No.
You don't remember that?
I remember his face where he was having like an acid trip for some reason.
Yeah, no, they're
It
sitting in the
was-
back of the truck, and he's like, "Hey, what happens if you have to use the restroom while you're on fire?" And he's like, "You know, like a flamethrower." And then it cuts to him just like,
That's right. Now I do remember that. I do remember that. Yeah. That is dumb, dude. It's
it
funny
took
because I didn't even
chances,
think
man.
the first movie was that good, honestly.
Oh
Like,
no, neither of them are very good at all.
it was visually really cool. I remember seeing it in theaters like this looks really awesome. Like
The
you
first
know,
one
would've
had
been
Sam
funny.
Elliott in it.
Sam Elliott, but that
That's
was
all you
cool.
need.
I really like that actually, where they brought in the original Ghost Rider, right? Like
Yeah,
what was he? He wasn't called Ghost Rider back
Carter
then. He was-
Slade.
yeah, but he was
Yeah.
actually called something else, like Knight Rider, or I can't remember what he was called. Someone probably knows in the chat, but and then they later like retconned it later. He was actually a Ghost Rider, right? But that was a cool. I like that a lot. I thought that was really cool. And then I actually like what's his name, Wesley. The
What's
actor's
his
name is
name?
Wesley.
Oh,
We want
it
to play
was the,
Blackheart.
Yes, no,
oh
Patrick,
my
I agree
God,
with you.
what is his name? I'm losing
Is
it
it-
because he's in Yellowstone,
And
and
American
Alicia
Beauty, too.
loves that shit.
Yeah.
And he was also in Hunger Games.
Yep. He wasn't hungry.
Fuck me sideways. I have to look this up.
Robbie Reyes. I think Robbie Reyes would make more sense for the MCU than Johnny Blaze. I don't know
Yeah,
what you guys think.
probably. I also love Ghost Rider for Agents of the Shield. I love that.
It's Wes Bentley.
Wes Bentley. Yes.
Yeah,
He's a good actor. He's
yeah.
solid.
Robbie Reyes in the TV show was great.
I thought he was really good too. And it's funny because they never really like Shield was supposed to be like this whole thing that went hand in hand with the MCU,
Yeah,
and
they
then
never did.
and then they gave up. Like,
Yeah,
and now we don't. No one's ever actually clarified like, is it? You know what I mean? So I know they were supposed to bring Chloe Bennett back, which is like another mommy, for Armor, but I'm probably gonna get canceled, but whatever. Like, y'all can say what you want.
I just love the sly little mommy jokes. You know, like, yeah.
Oh man, Becky G was on a slide too. Anyways, but I didn't get to go to the concert, by the way. Everyone in the house got sick, and we couldn't go.
Damn.
Yeah, so and I didn't want to. Luckily, I didn't buy the
Mhm.
tickets yet. But yeah, we're hearing Chloe Bennett was supposed to come back and be like Daisy in Armor Wars, and it's weird because like you have Coulson there in Shield, right? So that's an obvious tie to the MCU. Like where does it stop being MCU is the question.
I mean,
Well,
at this point, that line basically doesn't even exist.
But
Yes.
it had Sif because Jamie Alexander
Right,
came back as
right.
Lady Sif in an
Yeah,
episode,
yeah.
And
like,
they did
it-
the whole Hydra was in Shield the
Right.
entire time.
Yeah.
And then
Right.
they did the Thor.
They referenced Endgame,
and they
time travel and stuff.
they referenced
Yeah.
Endgame. I didn't finish.
no.
Yeah.
Was it still going on after Endgame?
Yeah, it
It's
was.
Was it? Oh, see,
Yeah.
I stopped
They-
after.
They referenced Infinity War in season 5, and then they referenced Endgame in season 7.
See, I stopped watching after they went to the future.
Because
I was like,
in season 5, it's supposed to technically take place around the time Infinity War is starting. 'Cause
Yeah,
one of the groups of villains, they were like not like a main group of villains, but they were around for a couple episodes. There's a scene where they decide to bolt and they leave Earth, and they said there's a line, I forget the exact wording, but there's a line where the guy's like, Thanos has begun his attack on your world, so we're getting out of there. And it like lines up to the Infinity War. And then for Endgame, when they do the time travel in kind of the final season of Agents of Shield, they explain that it's like from the quantum realm. They use the same sort of like tunnel technology. I think they even name dropped that like the Avengers came up with it and stuff like that. So like
so they
Yeah.
did continue on. I thought that
They
they
did.
stopped.
no,
And-
all the way until the series finale, they're still making references to like relevant movies that were like still
MCU
new.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but even
I don't
like
know.
back,
I don't know why they won't consider it an MCU property. I really
But that was-
can't see
but that-
why. The
yeah.
only reason why it wouldn't be is that while they reference the like events of those two movies, they don't deal with the consequence of the snap. It's like they don't do a 5-year time
Yeah.
jump. Like half the cast should technically be missing, and they don't do that. So like,
but that was like too the first season of Daredevil. he makes a comment to, I think it's Karen Page, that he got his apartment for really, really cheap because of the attack in the first Avengers.
Well, yeah, and they also
Yeah.
reference the rebuilding program. So they did reference Avengers in the first season of Daredevil.
Yeah,
And
so
I think Jessica
like
Jones
that.
too.
Yeah, but I like that how everything was all encompassed versus like the DC TV shows that was like, oh, you can't use Batman, so we're gonna use like every other Batman villain and just call him a Green Arrow villain.
Exactly.
I think there was a plan and they just gave up at some point. At least with the Netflix shows for sure. But
yeah,
I the only thing I would bring back everything from Netflix except for Iron Fist. That was the only thing that was like I feel like didn't work well. I think the actor was okay too. It was just like whatever everything that happened in those shows, just like it was forgettable. You know what I mean? So I'm saying you can totally bring back the actor. He's cool. Like I thought he was a good Danny Rand, but rewrite everything that you did in Iron Fist. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, especially with the new direction and everything, you can keep the cast and then give it a second chance kind of thing.
Right.
And give him a full costume.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. No. For
sure.
Yes.
And then they even ended like I even watched season 2 and they ended with like he had the Iron Fist guns. And I was like, don't do that. Like just don't do that. No one can tell me Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. is not canon. I even fighting myself.
Patrick is saying a lot of things that I'm agreeing with. And I could not agree more with that.
We also very much agree on Becky G, just so you guys know. It's funny because I found out I apparently could have gotten some media access to Becky G. There's a person apparently to call, but so I messed up, right? But to be fair, everyone was sick in the house, so like it wasn't going to happen. But yeah, I think we're gonna get to the Penguin next time, guys, because like this went a lot longer.
So waiting for that. It's the only reason I agreed to come on.
Oh my god! We'll come.
No, but it was a really good Agatha discussion.
We'll come back next week. We'll bring back the same panel. If everyone's down, we can.
I won't be able to. I'm not going to be caught up.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll bring back Tyler for sure to talk.
I'm down
because something happened specifically with Theo Rossi on Penguin that I think is like it seems super obvious to me that and I'm just
hey, next time you got a Marvel panel, hit me up.
Okay, all right. I don't think it was next time we have a Marvel thing coming out. So
yeah, it'll be a little while. I think the next thing is Brave New World.
Oh, that's right. That's true. That's coming up. Which by the way, that was behind the scenes at SpaceCon too. So guys, so there is something I want to do. I know there's a lot of people still here in the chat. I had done a Megazord giveaway like a month ago, and I've been waiting for the dude to claim it, and no one ever claimed it. So we're just gonna give it away tonight. So it is the Hasbro Walmart version of Megazord. We'll be giving it away.
One.
It's a good one. I think it's solid. Yeah. It's a solid figure.
It's a really good discount kind of one, you know.
Yeah, I think so too. It's all 5 Zords. They're all separate swords. They all combine to the Megazord. I will be willing to ship it anywhere in the world. So let me actually make up the giveaway. Since we've been talking Agatha, it is going to be #Agatha. Let me get that. Kind of just. I should have told Kat I was doing that. By the way, my bad, Kat.
It was Wiccan all along.
So there you go. #Agatha in the chat. And then we will give away this Megazord right here, guys. We'll give it a couple of minutes. Final thoughts on Agatha All Along and Marvel. Josh, we'll start with you.
I'm just happy that it was as good as it was. Like I said, a lot. I really want to see more of these characters. Give Jack Schaefer, any kind of project that they want to do, because clearly, it's working for them.
Someone said in the chat that Jack Schaefer is no longer on Vision Quest.
Well, shit.
Log off.
Well, well, besides that, no, it's nice to it's also to just have something fun from Marvel out there to talk about and to Yeah, I mean, same thing with like Deadpool and stuff like that. I think this year they've just really put out some neat projects. As we talked about at the beginning of the show, their 2025 lineup is stacked, in just the TV show department, but not even to mention the 3 movies we got next year. So like,
Right.
hopefully next year will be a really good one. Hopefully they're kind of back on track a little bit here. It feels like they definitely are getting there, if not already there. And I I'm still along for the ride. I've never not been along for the ride. So, and I'm gonna listen to the Ballad of the Witch's Road like 1,000 more times.
It's so good. I
So,
saw like some kids at a school singing it in a hallway with the echo. Oof, it was good. And I think Marvel even commented on that video, was like, yeah, we're gonna play this on repeat. And I was like, dude, that's cool. I'd die if that happened. Tyler, what about you, man?
I like it. It was, again, like I said, it wasn't what I wanted. Didn't know I needed it. It was a fun breath of fresh air.
Right.
It was, in the same vein, but at the same time different. I really like its exploration of the supernatural, because I feel like that's something that a lot of comic book shows, whether you're on either side of the board, don't exactly get into. Is just, they try to ground it a lot. That's always been my chief complaint of a lot of Batman stuff, is that they're always too grounded.
Right.
They don't really lean into these wackier characters. Like, I don't want no Condiment King, but stuff like that. So the fact that Marvel was actually, they're not afraid to dip into that, just that area, it's definitely something that's a little more uncharted in the slate of movies and TV shows, comic book movies and TV shows that I think we have. It's been touched on a little bit in a few shows, but it's actually was explored in this. And I also like that it was in a TV show versus a movie that wasn't like had to be wrapped up in 2 hours. It was something that literally every week it kept coming back and building and building. So
right. I think for me, I think it hit a lot of good spots, and I think what was good was that my wife, who's not like, she likes Marvel, right? But like, she loves Hocus Pocus. Like this hit good for her, and it's something that we could watch together. So it was a lot of like, if you were, like me, like, you watch all the Marvel stuff, right? It was something that you would probably really easily watch with your wife, and became like kind of a bonding thing, right? So it was kind of a different aspect for me as well, because she was really invested in the show, and what was going to happen. Like, we had to watch, because I work nights sometimes, but if I wasn't, we were watching it Wednesday night, as soon as we put the baby down to bed. So like, it was one of those things where I enjoyed it because I got to enjoy it with her more. And I think that was an aspect of it as well. Not only that, it was, like you said, like, it was really just like a breath of fresh air as far as everything going on, like not having, necessarily like tights, the capes and everything at the beginning. We know we were going to get that with Wiccan, but it was always coming at it from a different angle, rather than just like, superheroes. It was a boy finding out where he's from. You know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of things you could relate to them. Just even and I know there's a whole like community, a Wiccan community and a witch community as well. I'm sure, I feel like they probably enjoyed it as well. And there was different ways, like different things that everybody could take from this show, and rather than just being like Falcon and Winter Soldier. You know what I mean? So like, I think there was different ways to come at it, but I definitely enjoyed it. Let me go ahead and we'll share the screen real quick for what they call, I can't even talk right now.
for your giveaway,
Being honest of the giveaway. We got 12 entries. You have hashtag Agatha. I'm going, if you have 5 seconds to put in hashtag Agatha if you want the Megazord. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good luck, everyone. And the winner is, I should not be in there. I think it got chat on.
Congratulations, you win your own Megazord.
Yeah, that will not happen. Marcus Hammer, congratulations. You won the Hasbro Megazord. I've been seeing him in the chat today. Appreciate you engaging and everything. Just send me a message on Instagram, or message me on Instagram. Facebook, I get too much crap there. And then, or you can email me at the legacyofnerd@gmail.com. I prefer you message me on Instagram though, so I can be easier to chat that way. But congrats
to Marcus.
Congrats, Marcus. We'll get this out to you. I don't have the box or anything, so it's just gonna be like the figure, just that it is. So, well, like in a shipping box, not just like.
Yeah. You should ship in 5 separate boxes,
right?
Every sword
probably be cheaper with shipping for some weird reason. Before we leave, I know technically, Tyler, you don't have like a platform to plug, but you have a pretty cool thing to plug. Do you want to plug it? It's up to
Yeah, I
you.
mean, you're more than you could definitely follow me. It is a random assortment of organized chaos on my Instagram. I'm pretty much only on that. I use it for work. I use it for everything. I think when I got my job that I have now, I kind of steered more towards the work aspect of it. But when I dressed up as Gambit, it kind of started bleeding over to that. So now I've gone into bars and talked to clients, and they're like, "So, I saw you into a Comic-Con in costume the other day," and I'm like, "Yeah." Oh, look, my camera died again. Oh, there it
There you
goes.
go.
So it's one of those. Yeah. So I'm
El Gavi, right?
El Agave Gringo.
Okay, I'm posting the link right now. So
Yeah, thank you for that. I am a white boy that sells tequila, so
yeah,
I figured that's what the name had to be.
so yeah, he tells me all his adventures. He's gonna be hopefully maybe I don't know. Maybe I need to start drinking tequila and just like have a bottle like right here.
I was gonna say there's 3 of them right back here. my lovely wife brings them back here, but
so Tyler can go back to work like, hey, the legacy of nerd.
exactly.
He's just doing it. So
if I could put personal and work together, it works.
Right.
But, yeah.
And then Josh, anything for you wanted to plug?
Well, whenever I'm in the mood for it, I've had kind of a iffy mental health like month and a half recently, but kind of trying to get back into the swing of things, wrap up 2024 with videos on all 3 of my channels. I posted some things on a couple of videos actually on Toku Topics this past week because we got the new Sentai trademark and stuff like that, so check that out.
Oh, that's right.
I'm working on a couple things for my second channel. There's gonna be a pretty cool GI Joe unboxing over there pretty soon because the GI Joe Dragonfly helicopter HasLab from last year is going to be shipping in the next 2 weeks or so. So that'll be very fun to finally get mine since I paid for it in July of 2023. So I would like to finally get it. And it got delayed a little bit. That's why it's taken so long to ship. And then my third channel, my trans topics channel, I have some videos planned for this month. My next transition update video, my 4-month check-in will be on the 11th, which is crazy. So
I mean, I haven't talked to you about too much about it, but how has that journey been for you, man?
It's been very, very, very enlightening for sure. Lots of ups. There's some downsides here and there, obviously, but the upsides far outweigh anything negative. So it's a slow process, but it's worth it. So.
Well, I'm happy. And if I just realized I said man, but that's just the way.
Oh yeah, no, I get you. Yeah.
But anyone I'm happy that you're more comfortable with yourself, and I think that's a hard thing to be able to come to terms with.
Yes.
And no matter what the situation is, whether you don't feel like you're being misgendered, or even just like who you are as a person, I think that's really important. And I think that's something that's really hard to find, especially as an adult.
Yes.
I don't think I found that moment until like maybe in my late 20s.
Right. It's very tricky, and it's going to be different for everybody. Different answers, different experiences, right. Timing. I mean, literally like hundreds and hundreds of factors. But it's been it's like I said, it's a slow process, but it is a worthy process, and it's it's far from being done, obviously. But
I'm happy for you. You seem very much more positive.
I try to be.
I've been watching you for I remember the first video I watched was the Black Dano charge that showed up in Target randomly.
That was wow, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember you turned on the light like I have no idea what's going on. And because I was like I was going through Targets and I was like, where's the SQ and all that stuff. Yeah. Anyways, but I started watching back then and seeing you grow from then to now, because you were a kid back then, So
I know, right?
To now, and you just seem more comfortable with yourself, which is really good. More honest with yourself too, which is awesome.
Yep. At the end of the day, just want to try to be more authentic where I can, and I'm just taking the steps to do that where I can. So, but yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Well, that's gonna be it for tonight. 2 hours. Tyler, we'll come back next week. We'll talk Penguin. We'll
I
talk. I
appreciate
promise.
it. All
We'll
right,
talk.
all right, all right. Or my
Thank you
special
for having me.
my Batman hat and everything for you, man.
Right. I know you did the. It's funny you wear the Batman Forever hat. Anyways, but because they talked about the Riddler a little bit. So yeah, we'll talk about it next week. That was the first episode, Josh, in case you didn't catch it.
Oh,
Well, yeah,
We'll talk
happens
about
right
Riddler
now.
next week. I still got to watch tonight's episode. I feel like tonight's episode was probably had some crazy things that was probably going to happen in it based off of last week's episode. So we'll see you guys next week. Of course, if there's any other updates, we'll keep you guys posted on Instagram and Facebook. And as you guys know, here on YouTube, we never know when we're putting up crap. So just keep tuned. I still got 3 interviews left. I got Charlie Kirsch. I got Hillary Shepard Turner, which is an interesting interview. And then a Kerrigan Mahan interview with the voice of Goldar, which is an amazing interview because he just goes off on everything in the interview. So, and if you guys have heard about Kerrigan Mahan, he's had experiences. So, all right, guys, I will see you guys later and see you on the next one.